to do with it, I got interested in textiles because I was always good at art, but textiles was a female form of expression, and I got interested in how some tribal textiles are kind of a female language. So, who has a job in that? So I got dressed up in a way that somebody who knew something about that should look, and I printed up some business cards, and I went to a very fancy antique show and handed out my card that said Michelle Delano, wasn't that name at that time, but Michelle Delano, Textile Restoration and Conservation. Call my number. And pretended like I really could do that because I was pretty sure I could. And people started calling me up, and it turned out there were all these people with like really incredible hand-woven textiles from different cultures that had holes in them, and I could make them invisible, to the point where people didn't even want to share my name because they wanted to keep me for themselves. That's evolved into another business, but that's another story. But as part of this assignment, in that I saw myself as a textile restoration conservationist, and I put myself in a situation where other people who thought they could see me that way would, and became successful. So I want to use visual literacy, a little bit of creativity, Bloom's taxonomy so that you get to apply it. And this assignment, see if you understand it now. You now have a computer screen that is kind of like a stage. And influencers, you don't know what's happening outside of this stage. And in theater, this, it's so hard for me to do it to you. This right here is called the fourth wall. It's like you're sitting in a room with me, and there are walls all around this, right? So you're the fourth wall. And I can control what kind of room you think you're in. There might be chaos outside. You have no idea. But I have influenced you during this session. So what I want to do is this. You will post a photograph where you create, within the boundaries of the monitor, a situation where you are an influencer. I want you to just play with this. And it's an art photograph, okay? And this photograph is meant to be posted somewhere like you're the influencer, whatever that is. Now, it does not have to be actually you, as in what I see every day. You can play around with this concept. I mean, if you're into cosplay, or you just really like Halloween, but it doesn't, the subject is not what's important. What I want you to do is, through semiotics, control the narrative of what people see about you. You are the subject, okay? You're the influencer. It's like a selfie, a self-portrait. So, but you have to consider every single square of this is part of your art photo. Okay, you will post it on the discussion board. You will reply to each other and to interpret it, so that project is, once you post it, you'll see what people thought of you. Much like I'm going to ask you to post what you thought of my presentation. I would like for you to think a bit about that. And then, I will list this, of course, on the module. Your next project will be to post a photograph of you as the professional you intend to become in 10 years. So if you're going to be a doctor, I want you to so totally envision it that you're a doctor, that you dress, if you don't have a lab coat, just dress as close as you can. You're going to sit at a desk, you're going to do, I have no idea what you're going to do, but I'd like for you to take yourself seriously enough so that you appear, you control this narrative. And just like I pretended like I was a specialist, what I want to see when I see that photograph up and the demeanor that you have, I want you to pose, be a poser in that way. If you wish to pose a video, I think that would be more fun. because I think it would be easier for you to, pick up and show somebody things and give them some clues. But I hesitated to make that part of the assignment because I didn't want to have very many technical glitches. So if you want to, I would really like that. And if you can figure it out, email me and I'll put it on the how-to page. I'm too busy to do that. Sorry, right now. Okay, so we have gone from visual literacy to, okay, we're visually literate. How do we read? How do we read art? How do we apply what we read in art to real life, like products? And then how do we apply it to our everyday life, like ourselves, okay? Studies show that if you clearly visualize what you intend to become, like you actually spend time building it in your head, that you're much more likely to be successful. My husband was telling me that he read about a study of Asian American females, and when they were influenced before a test in a way that suggested that they were female, they did less poorly on the math section. And then when it was influenced and emphasized that they were Asian Americans, they did better because of cultural expectations. And so all of those are little codes that we adhere to every day that I want us to look at. After you create these two photos, have some discussion about it, I want you to write a paper called The Semiotics of Self, which is a very brief description of what you went through. Semiotics means, how does this relate? What are there associations you wanted people to make? Do you think people made assumptions about what you presented to them? Do you think you were able to influence them in a style where they understood it? So I want you to then explain, first of all, what you were trying to do, kind of explore what associations you had to it, look at your classmates' reaction to it, then see how it felt 10 years from now, classmates' reaction, and then a conclusion. Okay, I just want to kind of you to think about it. It would be great if you used the semiotic vocabulary because it will help you in a test later. So if you consciously wanted me to, I don't know, I mean, obviously this is an association to me as a gardener. This is a very displaced, my jewelry is a very displaced code because it's like coming out of nowhere. I mean, I live in Dinwiddie, Virginia. Where the heck is all of this Afghani nomad Bedouin stuff coming from? So like there's a language that maybe people who used to wear this, they have their own visual literacy, right? But because it's odd in our culture, this is a displaced code. Doesn't erase its meaning, but it's still recognized as not part of what you normally see. So in your paper, I would like for you to try to apply that vocabulary. I've just given you a sequence of assignments and projects that are kind of a step-by-step way of thinking about the many images that you're presented. So for instance, if I presented 15 different images of myself, I could completely control these surroundings. And I could influence you to make assumptions, beliefs, feelings by controlling the color and the placement and the emphasis, all of those things, okay? So you're going to try to apply this to your own life, one emphasizing either one really strong aspect about you or a character, and then the other being a portrait of you in the future. And these are taken as though you are an art photographer for a magazine or an Instagram or a shoot. Okay, this is not just a picture, it's a shoot that we want, okay? And I want you to be able to like really